This episode is brought to you by Till by Bell, only on Spotify. Akbar's Dream. Akbar's Dream by Jane Lanford. Chapter 3. As soon as Akbar saw the Taj Mahal, he knew that this was the best moment of his life. The gardens of the Taj Mahal stretched in front of him. Akbar's eyes went past the canals and the green trees to the very end of the gardens. There stood the Taj Mahal. Akbar walked slowly towards it with grandfather. The closer he got, the more clearly he could see the jewels set into the marble walls. They were red, green, and yellow. They made patterns of roses and tulips. "This is the pattern I want," gasped Akbar. "This is the pattern for my silk cloth."
"Wait," said grandfather. "There is more inside."
"It can't be more beautiful than this," said Akbar. He got out his paper and pencils and started to sketch the patterns that he could see. He drew flowers and leaves, twisting and twirling and curling together. He chose colors that he had never used before. They were the colors of the shining jewels. Akbar drew and drew until his hand hurt.
"That is enough, Akbar,"
said grandfather gently.
"Let us go inside now."
Akbar followed grandfather into the building. Inside was Mumtaz's tomb. It stood on a high platform. Next to it stood another tomb. "Whose tomb is that?" asked Akbar.
"It belongs to Shah Jahan,"
whispered grandfather.
"He has to bury it next to his wife."
Around the two tombs stood a marble screen. It was carved to look like lace and decorated with rubies and emeralds. The twisting, turning flowers that covered the screen were even more beautiful than the ones Akbar had seen outside.
"Are you going to copy these flowers?"
asked grandfather. Akbar shook his head. "No," he said. "My sketches could never show the beauty of these flowers." When Akbar had seen enough of the tombs, they went back outside. Akbar's mind was swirling with colors and ideas and patterns. "I want to go home," he said. Grandfather and Akbar took the train back home. They traveled together in silence. They were both lost in their dreams. Grandfather dreamed of grandma and how she would have loved to see the Taj Mahal. Akbar dreamed of the silk cloth he was going to weave. When they got home, Akbar sat down by the loom. He looked at the colored threads he had and realized that he would need new colors for his silk cloth. "Can we go and see Uncle Omar tomorrow?" he asked. Grandfather took Akbar to Omar's stall. They chose new colors of silk thread for Akbar to weave. "The green must be like emeralds," said Akbar, "and the red must be like rubies." Omar found the colors that Akbar wanted.
"I don't want any money for the thread,"
said Omar.
"I just want to see the finished silk cloth."
Akbar took the thread home and started work. He looked at the sketches he had made. He shut his eyes and thought about the patterns that swirled around in his head. He thought of the tulips and the roses. He thought about the towers and the dome. Little by little, Akbar wove his design. The ideas that were trapped inside his head became trapped in the pattern of the silk. The cloth grew longer and longer. It grew more and more beautiful. At last, Akbar had finished it. He held it up for everyone to see.
"It's beautiful!"
gasped grandfather in amazement. "I've done what I said I would, grandfather. I've made the most beautiful silk cloth in the whole of India."
"Let's take it to show Uncle Omar,"
said grandfather.
"He will want to see it."
Grandfather and Akbar hurried through the streets. They found Omar at the stall. "Look, Uncle Omar," said Akbar. "Look at what I have made." Uncle Omar could not believe his eyes. He took the silk from Akbar and cradled it in his arms. He brushed his fingers tenderly over the cloth. He gazed at the wonderful patterns. Finally, he let out a soft sigh.
Akbar,
He said,
this is truly the most beautiful silk cloth in India. One day, it will be as famous as the Taj Mahal, and you will be as famous as Shah Jahan.
The end. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story.